How do you start practicing improvising when you don't have all your tools in place? This is really because many people start trying to improvise and they constantly stumble because they don't have their tools in place. And I did that all the time. And my conclusion from trying to improvise was that I just couldn't do it. That I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the ability to just put together lines, and I didn't understand how people could do it so fluently. But the whole process of learning that is really mastery, because you have to master your tools before you can use them. It's just like talking, as we spoke about in the previous video. If you don't have your vocabulary in order, and you haven't tried putting those words together into sentences over and over and over again, you cannot express yourself, because the next thought, the next thing you want to express cannot come out of you because you lack a word, so you stumble, right? And that's not because you cannot improvise. Everyone can improvise. It's the most natural thing for a human being because we can talk. I'm improvising now. But you need to have your language skills, your musical language skills in place before you can start just blah-blahing out, and creating all kinds of stuff, writing books or doing a speech or telling somebody you love them or whatever, right? You have to know what you're doing. Because if you're not, you stop all the time, and that breaks the whole pattern of talking, of flowing, of playing, whatever it is that you do. So how do you practice it before you have your skills in place? Well, you limit. That's the natural thing. You limit your efforts to what you can actually do. So you skip the whole thing of trying to practice skills as you're practicing improvising, and just limit yourself to a little thing. Like, say, we're just going to limit ourselves really hard here. Let's say instead of focusing on a whole scale shape, we're just going to do 2 strings. So I'm just going to play. This is C minor. And I'm just going to play the chords in the background as before. C minor. So I just do the 8th, the 9th, and the 11th on the B string. And I do the 8th, the 10th, and the 11th on the high E string. Right? And that's my scale. But I changed that to harmonic minor. So I reach for the 12th fret on the B string instead of the 11th. And then I play the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th on the E string. But I only do that when I play the dominant, when I play the... So depending on, we might already be moving out of your comfort zone here with what you can do. But I'm just going to limit myself to these 2. So when I have the subdominant, the F minor 7th, I'm just going to play that. And then we have the dominant. I go to the harmonic minor instead and push that note up from the 11th to the 12th. And then I do the tonic. And there, I'm going to play the arpeggio, actually. I'm going to figure out where are the chord notes on those 2 strings. So this is the first arpeggio of the first chord, the second. And then I have the dominant. So I'm just going to play the diminished. But the point is here, whether or not you can follow this, that I'm limiting my tools to the absolute least available. And also rhythmically, I'm going to do the same. Because I don't want to get out into a place where I cannot, reach the bottom with my feet and go to deep water. So let me just try to play that. Harmonic. It's this weird chord And rhythmically now, I'm just going to go with 1 and 2 and 3 and 8th notes, right? So we're going. And then focus on hitting the chord notes and the scale notes. And it might sound simple. Let me go for triplets. So I stay with concepts I can do, that I master, and I might even choose a simpler chord progression, or you can just do one chord. Right? Oh, I just recorded that. I just stay with that chord, right? And then play around with creating lines, and every time I stumble, I can actually repeat that little stumbling, play it again, try to not stumble, and then practice soloing in this way. But the key point of this video is try to limit yourself as much as you can when you practice improvising, so you really master what the tools you use. So limit them, scale shapes, the techniques, the rhythm you use, and try to keep within that, and then practice improvising. Then expand your skills, and then expand what you use when you improvise. This will actually enable you to practice improvising much earlier. So when you actually get the skills, or your skills are at the level you really want, then you'll be so good at it that you don't have to, do an extra 6 months or 12 months focusing on improvising in order to get it done. So limit it and then practice improvising.